into my eyes was a sacred vision so deep inside. I wondered if I could hold you tight, to hold you near me all through the night. I heard the gospel true, heard it on the radio.
I don't want my phone to die because we got to go to the city after that. So I'm going to have to. I don't
Hello
know.
and welcome to Dateline New Haven on WNHH FM. I'm your host, Paul Bass, inviting you to join me on an exploration of what makes the Elm City tick. Happy One City Thursday, everyone. It's time for our weekly check-in with the growing network of grassroots movers and shakers. We're building a new citywide campaign called One City, to bring together our neighborhoods and keep us busy, united all summer long and beyond. In the WNHH FM studio, we have New Hallville Community Management Team Leader Kim Harris, the brains and the engine behind the new One City campaign. We have One City webmaster Randy McCrae, who you will hear is involved not just with One City, but all sorts of interesting stuff in town. Because when we do these shows, we meet the people and find out what else makes them tick. And we're going to be joined soon, we hope, by Luis Chavez Bromel of the Free Public Library, who's also playing a part in this summer's roster of organization holding events. Welcome, everyone. Great to see you back, Kim. Nice to see you. And Randy's a return visitor to the studio. And thanks to Yale New Haven Hospital for providing support for today's program. Haji Charabashlu is already on the on Facebook. Thumbs up. Thank you for listening, Alderman Charabashlu. So, Kim Harris, you got a big day coming. You're not just on WNHH Radio, but you're going to be at City Hall, along with a whole bunch of people from all over town at 1 o'clock. Markeisha Ricks will be there for us.
All right.
So tell me what's going on today at City Hall.
So we're doing our press conference launch event. The mayor is putting this together for us, and we're bringing out all of the management teams. They're going to be there. And people will get a chance to sample, get a little insight to what's going to happen this summer. We're going to have some tables set up where people can actually taste, feel, touch.
What are you going to taste?
Some vegan.
Oh, my
Paul,
goodness. I'm going to miss it.
We got a couple vegan cooks that are going to be there today.
Cool.
We have the Singing Sisters that are going to be there.
The Seventh-day Adventists?
Yes.
Yeah, I love those guys. Yeah.
And the science, the PhD science guys and girls are going to be there from Yale.
Yeah, we had them on last week.
Who else is going to be there? The library is going to be there. Stetson Library is going to be there. We're going to have some planetarian things there from East Rock.
So just for listeners who don't know about this, Kim, if they haven't been listening every week, so what you put together with the heads of the other 11 management teams in town in the neighborhoods is a first ever citywide group called One City that brings every neighborhood together and is planning as a first of many joint projects, a summer full of 60 events in 60 days. In each neighborhood of those 12 management teams, there's going to be an event every day is the goal for 60 days. And you're going to put that all together so everyone can go into each other's neighborhoods, get leads on other businesses to go to, family-friendly events, all ages. And so your press conference today is going to tell people more about this and let them see some of what they're going to be able to do, whether it's science stuff with the kids or concerts or food or that kind of stuff.
Yes. Dancing, tours, city tours that people may have not had access to before. We have the trifecta happening on Middletown Avenue. We are secured with that. We have
meaning your trifecta meaning you bring your kids or just go without the kids and see what's up at the Public Works place, what's at AMR, ambulance, and what's the third?
Transfer station.
Oh, where the garbage goes.
That's right. Very, very interesting what happens down there.
Mayor DeLito used to call that our bird life sanctuary. Because all the birds would come up on the big hill of garbage.
Yes. So, we had a great meeting with Pierre Barber, and he's so in tune with educating the people, starting with the kids and working our way up with the adults and letting them know about our garbage, about recycling, reuse, and the one stream of recycling now that's happening. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. So we're going to learn about our city in addition to having fun together all summer. Obviously one of the reasons I'm so excited about what you've been doing is because New Haven sometimes feels a place where people are separated and sometimes a great place to kind of go beyond artificial boundaries and get to know each other and be part of one city.
Absolutely.
So it's so positive what you're doing.
Thank you.
And at this event, I'm sure we're going to see people from all over town because they've been showing up at every
Yes.
event. Now, an important part that might not be the glitzy part of what you're doing is to let everyone know what's going on.
Absolutely.
Like every day for this summer,
Yeah.
people are going to get in a habit this summer. Whether you're home with the kids or if you don't have kids, you want stuff to do. Every day, people are going to check a website that tells them what's going on that day in 12 different neighborhoods or what's happening tomorrow if you're planning your day, and also find out how to get involved.
Absolutely.
So another reason we got this website, I guess, is because you got a great webmaster.
Yes,
right?
we do. The best in town.
And her name is Randy McCrae. Randy, thanks for coming on. How did you get involved with One City?
So I should say I met Kim via my role on the New Haven Early Childhood Council, for which I'm currently the consultant/director. And I have a background in tech, working at Yale University for many years.
What'd you do there?
I actually used to work in technology. So I did everything from project management to business analyst work, as well as help desk work, training new people to do stuff. And
They do a lot of good work there.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
What years did you work there, Randy?
I worked there from 1999 to 2016.
So you helped me when I used to teach there. I used to go there
Yeah.
saying help, and you helped
Yeah,
me set up
yeah,
a blog
yeah.
for my class.
I
Thank
worked
you.
there for a while. So I've worked in a variety of departments ranging in tech, and did a lot of work throughout the years on the ways that websites can be used to inform people and educate people.
So you know how to build websites and how to manage them.
Yep.
Which is one of those mysteries the rest of us, like turning on a TV. Like, how did that get there? But then
Well,
there's some
it
people
is.
that-
It is a lot easier today to actually do the front-facing part. But I think the thing about the One City website, which is the most powerful, is the behind the scenes, the strategy, really taking what Kim's vision was and how she wanted the workflow to be and have that replicate on the website.
So how
it's
did you
not-
do that? Like, what
yeah,
did you do?
so it's not just the face. It's really, Kim had very specific requirements, which is what technologists are good at distilling. That she wanted to make sure people can search by neighborhood, they can search by age. We
that's
needed
important.
a seamless process for individuals who are going to submit events to their management team, and it go directly to their management team, and then once it's approved, it gets put on the website. So it's not just the visual aspect of it, it's actually the behind the process workflow. So when Kim says I'm the best in town, she's really referring to how I can take what people want to do and build sort of the workflow behind the scenes. And I have some graphic experience, so I'm okay with some of the graphic
You're
stuff.
good. So I went to that site, and I think the biggest comment I can give you is I didn't notice. Because I went to that site, said, okay, I can find everything.
Yeah.
And that's hard.
Yes.
You go, I'm not going to mention which governments, but you go to websites, you get really confused.
Yes.
Because it's hard to actually, when you have a lot of
And
information,
it's-
you have a couple, like, you have a couple goals. You want to bring
Right.
everyone together
Right.
so everyone can find out easily stuff to do everywhere.
Right.
But you also want to be able to navigate, you just said. You
Right.
want to be able to find if there's something about your neighborhood or you want to communicate. You want to
Right.
get a message to your neighborhood.
And we're getting so many events. We already have over 400 events
Wow.
in the hopper to get added. So
Let me
I
just do
actually,
it. Let me just do-
$4.97.
All right,
Yeah.
let me just do math for a second. So
Yeah.
497, there are 12 groups. We
12
have 60
neighborhoods.
days.
yes,
So how many is that total?
720.
yeah. So what that means,
Wait a
That's
minute.
all?
So 12 times 60,
yes.
720. Oh, wait a minute. Let me take
Well,
the phone out.
some of the events are happen
think you're right.
simultaneously.
I think
yeah,
you're right.
yeah,
You are right.
yeah.
See, I'm not good at math. Math is hard. Barbie tells me I want to go shopping, go to the mall if I'm trying
Right,
to do
so
that.
I dream that number every night.
So you're up to 497. I got to tell you, Kim, if you were to stop now, and you're not stopping now, I know
We're
you.
not, because we still got more. We
I
got a
believe
lot
if we
this
had
morning.
gotten 497 events over 60 days in neighborhoods, I would have called that a huge success.
Absolutely.
But you're not. But Kim won't be satisfied.
No.
No,
Kim,
Kim
Kim's
wants
a
to go the
big
whole
dreamer.
720,
That's why we
yeah.
work well together.
And
She's
she
a
believes
visionary.
it can happen.
Yes.
Absolutely.
She's
So
a
she can make it happen.
visionary. She is great at motivating people, and we spend a lot of time taking that vision and saying, okay, how do you actually implement that in a very strategic way?
So you built this website.
Yeah.
It's up. People can go to, I think it's called onecityinitiative.org.
Yes,
You got to remember that word initiative.
you
Yes.
have to, and how to spell it.
Yeah. And if you don't, just Google it. You'll get close.
So one of the
Google's
things
smart.
about the website, also the other strategy is using our social media outlets, as well as we're going to be sticking QR codes on everything around the city. So everywhere you see the One City signage and flyers, there's going to be a QR code on it. You'll be able to scan your QR code and go right to the website from your mobile device.
So you hold up your phone.
You hold up your phone.
And will it all just take you to the home page, or you go to certain stuff that takes you to a specific page?
We're going to have it, because we're building it and we're putting the events, as we get closer to the events, we're actually just going to have that QR code take you directly to the events page. We're going to have an events page that has, which you see right now, that has sort of a brief description, who's the audience, what's happening day and time, and who the contact person is. But we're also just going to have a calendar up where you could say, look, it's Saturday, I got some free time, or it's Tuesday afternoon, I got some free time. What's happening today on Tuesday afternoon? And you can go right to that date and see what's happening all across the city. One of the things about building a website is really about the user experience. So when Kim and I was talking, we wanted to make sure that people would be able to find things of interest to them. They can sort by neighborhood, they can sort by age. But for those who just want to go click on a calendar and say, today is blah, right? Let's see what's happening.
I don't know about you folks. Do you remember when my kids were little?
Yeah.
We used to have Camp Daddy. Be summer, right? We're going to go do stuff every day, right?
Yeah.
And man, if
I call
we
them
had
vacations.
Vacation. I wish I had had that website.
The great thing about One City, though, is I often do vacations with my kids, and I'm sure other parents do. My kids are 8 years old. And they say on Saturday, what is there to do today? One of the things about this One City initiative for 60 days is they'll be local to you. Most of the time for a lot of these events, we have to go somewhere else, right? So these are local on the bus line, walking distance if people want to bike ride to them. And
you can go in your neighborhood and you can explore another part of town. Yeah, you can go in your neighborhood,
or you can go in, relatively close to part of town. And a lot of people don't know that Yale shuttles transportations are free. So if they're on that line, you can hop on a Yale shuttle with your kids.
They let you
friends.
on if they don't think you're from Yale?
They don't ask you for an ID. Anyone can ride the Yale shuttle.
They never ask anyone?
No. No, you can ride it for free. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So if they're on that line, you can get there, and they're accessible, and they're in your community. And I think that that's so powerful about this. Plus, it's one place to find out about everything that's happening in New Haven.
Yes. Instead of 50 calendars.
Exactly.
And what we're talking about, if you're catching up with the conversation, is we're talking about One City, an effort that's about to start June 28th of 60 days in New Haven, when all 12 management teams in the city are working together to do 60 events in each neighborhood as a way to start working together long-term as one city. We're talking about that on Dateline New Haven and WNHH-FM, your home for community radio, 103.5 FM, live stream, newhavenindependent.org. We're talking to Kim Harris, the brains and the engine behind it, and Randy McCrae, who designed the website. You know, one thing I love about meeting, because Kim, when you can see she's an organizer, when she meets someone who has talent, has something to offer, which most people do, right?
Mm-hmm.
She always thinks about how can that person be part of One City.
Mm-hmm.
And then when she brings them on the radio, we find out about all the other interesting things they do. Now, Randy, did you grow up in New Haven?
I did.
What part of town?
I grew up in Brookside. I went to Catherine Brennan, Sheridan, and then eventually Career High. When I was in Career High in high school, I was very actively engaged in the community. So I have a long history of community organizing work.
What kind of stuff were you doing in high school?
So I was on the Rosa DeLaura Anti-Crime Youth Council. I worked with the Safe Haven Collaborative. And then for a couple of years, I worked at Youth Fair Chance, which was ran by the Regional Workforce Development Board. I worked with the Citywide Youth Coalition. And I've done community training programs at the Community Action Agency. So I've worked with a lot of different.
And did you go to college after high school?
Not directly. I
Good.
really
I
engaged in a lot of community work, and I worked, which to me was beneficial because it allowed me to really, understand what I wanted to do. But I eventually finished school. I went to University of Bridgeport. I did my master's at Mount Albertus Magnus. My PhD is at Union Institute and University in Ohio.
In what subject?
Public policy and social change.
Wow.
Yeah.
So now you've been doing all that kind of stuff. And since meanwhile you had a great job, you had this thing growing up in New Haven. You obviously got the most out of these schools that tie you to the community, which is one unsung aspect of our schools. You can't get tied in. And then, you're a success story, right? So then you worked at Yale all those years in IT, obviously got some mad skills.
Yeah. And
now you're doing stuff on your own. I read about you in the New Haven Independent, where you started with some other females.
Yes.
A co-working space in East Rock. Was that on Willow Street?
That's on Willow Street. It's called the Urban Collective of 85 Willow Street.
That old factory complex.
Yeah, right? Marlin Works building. And it's with my business partner, Marita Biety, who is still working at Yale, by the way. We met at Yale. And we wanted to provide a collaborative space for individuals like Kim who kind of need a space to do something and can't really.
Co-working's big.
Yeah,
And what you
collaborative
did
space.
different, and what you did different was you found it. I thought you were gearing it toward women and maybe women of color.
Yes, people
Not that
of
you.
color.
I'm sure you don't turn down anyone, but that.
No,
but
we
that,
don't.
But that there wasn't a space that, because you often think of it as like a white male, young kind of macho
Well,
bro
when you
thing.
go to a lot of the co-working spaces, the culture is and spaces are very reflective of a certain type of group.
Bros.
Yeah, young millennials.
And we don't have to be mean about them. I mean,
yeah,
we're
no,
glad
not
they're
mean,
here.
but
They have
and
their
that's
concept.
great because there's spaces for everyone. Our space is really to be a support for a lot of the small business and entrepreneurs and community organizations in New Haven who cannot afford to have space on their own. Our concept was if we can secure a space and get enough people to become a part of this collaborative, that it would be sustainable and it would give everybody a resource that they can utilize for meetings, for events, etc.
Right,
So,
you pay for your little space, but you're
Yep.
part of a community
you're
that helps
part
each
of a
other.
community, exactly.
And you're not off by yourself. You have to see other
Exactly.
humans and get ideas and do events together.
Exactly.
So when
So-
did you start that?
We started last August.
August of 2017.
Yes, August 2017.
So how's it going?
It's going
almost a year
well.
now.
We actually now have an artist. I call her an artist in residence. She also works at Yale. She's an artist. She's going to be there during the week using the space. She's got a show coming up in September. I have a longtime friend who has a ministry, and she's there on Sundays. We have Bible study by another group there on Mondays. We have a monthly jazz cafe
Who
that's
plays?
held. I think different bands.
Very nice.
So people always reach out to us to use it when it's available. So our calendar is online. It's real time, meaning as soon as it gets booked, the space shows that it's not available anymore. And so people just go to our website or they reach out to us for either long-term opportunities or just
Did
need-based
you get any
opportunities.
startup funding, any loans? Or
No, we
grants?
used all our own money.
So how's it going? Are you breaking even yet?
I think we're close now that we have the artists in residence there.
Because it's
is what I
less than
call
a
it.
year. So
Yeah.
often it takes 5 years to break
Yes,
even.
it does. And I think we'll get there faster than 5 years only because we're building collaborative. So it's kind of a lot of people bringing their little bit of resources together for the whole. And so to me, that's a business model that I truly believed in. I did do my research before that, looked into what other people had done for co-working spaces or collaborative spaces to see kind of how they grew and what their model was. And many said they started out with a smaller space and then they grew their network and then looked at a bigger space. So that's the route my business partner and I took.
Excellent. I'm so
Yep.
excited you're doing that. I'm excited that you're still standing. You know, most people aren't still standing after a few months. You know that, right?
Yes,
You know better than I do.
but many people said to us, "Oh, there's been a space like this before, and then it was gone in a year." So my partner and I really think about that. We work very diligently on how to stay open. I think because I have such a strong passion for community, next steps I'm thinking about is how can I institute some sort of support for young people transitioning into adulthood that need some sort of job training and mentoring and support. And that's what we really wanted to have, some sort of giving back aspect to the space as well. So that's the
And I
thing
guess
that-
one thing that must be crucial in why you're still standing is that you have this whole history of contacts from growing up in New Haven, being involved in community groups since you're a teenager. And there's this whole separate world I'm hearing about here that's interesting to me, that if you get a good job at Yale, not necessarily running Yale, but like a good job, you're doing IT. You meet a lot of other people like yourself who are smart, who have dreams, and are getting skills and want to do
Absolutely.
something and fly outside the corporate bureaucracy.
And the thing
So
about
you did it with your
that-
business, and you mentioned a couple other people then who have ideas they're bringing to your
right?
space.
And it's just not being afraid to leave. So one of the things about getting a good job at Yale, many people thought and asked me, you're leaving after 18 years. And I was like, yes, because we have this opportunity where you could do more than one thing, and I want to do something differently. You just have to not be afraid to take the leap
And other
and do
people,
it.
before you leave, you can still have your job and pursue something part-time through a co-working space.
Absolutely.
You don't have to sign
Absolutely.
up for big.
Absolutely.
This is great. Now, also, Randy McCray, you also work on the Early Childhood Council,
Yes.
which I guess is appointed by the mayor. It advises the city about how we're going to get more kids. And this is something Kim knows a lot about because school she runs. Most kids learning earlier, being in good health, correct?
Yes.
And so what are you doing with that? That was kind of dormant for a lot of years.
So they've been somewhat actively engaged, but we convene everyone who has anything to do with early care and education in New Haven around the collective agenda for the success of young children in New Haven. And I want to say that Kim Center is sort of one of the
Let's
ones
tell people
that,
what that center's
yeah,
called.
Harrison Tucker.
And
Harrison,
that's in
Harrison
Norwalkville,
Tucker
and you're
School.
second generation.
Absolutely.
Did you attend it?
No.
It started when you were a little older.
I just missed it.
And your
So,
parents started
My
it?
mother and my auntie started it. In 2020 will be 50 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so the two
Wow.
sisters, the two
Yes.
sisters got together.
Whoa.
My auntie actually told my mother.
So you were minus 7 years old and it
Yes.
started. Wow.
Yes. So my auntie told my mother, guess what? You're going to quit your job and we're going to start this business.
Sort of like Randy was just talking
Yeah.
about.
That's right. It's either going to be a home for senior citizens or preschool. Patricia, what do you want to do? And my mother said, let's do the children.
50 years. Wow.
50 years.
And what ages are at the preschool?
We have from 6 weeks to 12 years of age.
12 years of age? You
So-
mean like after school?
Before and after school, we have the homework club. Absolutely.
Homework club.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
And how many years you been running it, Kim?
My mother passed away in 2005,
Mm-hmm.
and I was thrust into it. And teaching was not an issue. I went to school to be a teacher. It's always the business side, you know.
It is
because-
always the business
Yeah,
side.
it is. So it took a while to learn that. Still learning it, but I had to go back to school. I had a degree already, Southern Connecticut, for the teaching aspects. But preschool is different. You know, you have to go back to school. I went to Gateway, and I took tons of classes, and I did lots of training because I really wanted to understand this. I wanted to really
Sort of like where you're
grab it.
diving now into one city. You
Yes.
learn a lot. You're
Yes.
focused. Yeah.
Yes.
So
and
let me ask both of you,
Good.
what's the most important challenge now for especially preschoolers, even though they go to 12th grade, Kim? What's the most important challenge? What do we need to being more of a city?
So I would say for New Haven, it's really making sure that every child has high quality care that's accessible and affordable.
Affordable's
So
a biggie.
that's the
Yeah.
challenge that we're facing, and that's what we work together on the New Haven Early Childhood Council to make sure that every child who needs early care and education has it, and it's high quality.
And is there a difference between preschool and daycare? Is there an important difference there?
So I would say it depends on the center. Some daycare, so to speak, or home providers do put a lot of effort and energy in teaching young kids
Yes.
many fundamentals. They are not just babysitters. So if you think of All Our Kin in New Haven, who is also a partner,
They
on the-
train people, right? to have
yeah,
home
they
daycare.
provide a myriad of resources to home care providers so that they are preparing young children for where we all know they're going, which is into possibly New Haven public schools, right? So the 3 to 4 year olds at some point 5, they're going to transition and they need to be prepared for those expectations that are ahead of them. And so there's been a lot of work with All Our Kin to work with family care providers. Kim Center is NIAC accredited, so the New Haven Board of Education, all their preschools are NIAC accredited. All the programs we
What does
fund.
that mean?
NIAC accreditation, Kim can go talk about the details, but it's the entity that makes sure that certain standards of quality are met for all of these providers to ensure that young children are getting the best care that they need to have.
above and beyond the call
Yes.
of duty.
Yes.
And is it important to have them be like in school the way you learn structured, or is
Yes.
it less structured like Montessori, right? They sort of like let kids lead to what they want to learn.
Right.
Well,
The
we
social
have
aspects.
Montessori in our we have a
We
Montessori
do.
school in our network as well. So it's really just making sure that all of those opportunities are aligned with the success of young children. So it's basically multiple ways to do something,
Yes.
but the NIAC accreditation is just ensuring
That we have
that
certain
what
standards.
you're doing is aligned with the success of young children, the
And Kim,
things that
where
have
do you
been
fall
vetted.
down on that question about like how structured do you make the learning for the kid? Do you have like a curriculum they have to learn, or is it more like you have an environment where they seek out learning stuff, or are you just teaching them how to learn and how to be around other people?
It's a lot of social because the social piece is critical to how they learn. And the other piece I believe that's very, very important is when we're structuring a curriculum, it's based around the needs of the children. So it's not so much, okay, today we're going to learn ABC 1, 2, 3. For us, it's about finding that sweet spot of the child, because if a child has this thing about trucks, guess what? We'll paint with trucks. We'll go outside and count trucks. We'll find the colors of trucks. And it's a different pathway for accomplishing the same thing. So it's just finding that sweet spot and elaborating on education from there.
Well, we're elaborating on One City, the initiative that's starting just about getting off the ground June 28th. There's a press conference today in City Hall where all 12 management teams in the city, every neighborhood represented, is coming together to do a citywide summer events schedule. 60 events, 12 neighborhoods, 60 days as part one of working together permanently to get to know each other and be part of one city together. We're talking to Randy McCrae, the webmaster, and as usual, and Kim Harris, the force behind it. As usual, we get talking about what the city's like not just a campaign. And that's kind of the point. The interesting people
Yes.
you might not have ever heard of, you might have, and you find out all the great things they do. And we've been joined by Luis Chavez Brummel. Did I say your name right?
Yeah, Chavez Brummel, yes.
Okay, close. Didn't get the Brummel accent right. Okay. Luis, though.
Yes, Luis.
Luis
yes,
Chavez
thank you.
Brummel. And you work at the public library, right, on Elm Street, the
Yes,
free
I do.
public library with, was it early childhood as well?
Yeah,
there?
yeah, so
What's your,
I'm,
and if you can get real close to the mic.
Oh, sure. So my official title is Manager of Young Minds and Family Learning. And so that encapsulates more or less 0 to 18, our read mobile that you might have seen last week on the Arts and Ideas Festival on the Green. We visit early childhood centers. We also have a teen center, and then we also do teen services. This year, we're working with the One City Initiative to really let the community know that we have these wonderful programs to the community for free for families.
And it's true that in the summer when you look and do it with your kids, I remember this, you
Yeah,
often end up at the
yeah,
library.
yeah.
So is it partly, Luis, just letting people know the many things that happen at the library, or are you also adding some events to be part of One City?
Well, we are every year, actually, the New Haven Free Public Library has an annual summer learning program. And so there's always, initiatives, things happening every single year. But this year, we're actually switching it up. We're making it more accessible to the community. So we're actually giving credit just to think, okay, learning happens outside of the classroom, not just in the classroom. We're more than just books. So if you attend a community event, that would count as a learning experience. If you say, for instance,
And why does it matter that it counts? You get something at the end of the summer if you've done enough of
it
it?
counts. You get something at the end of the summer. So this year, we're actually giving away drawstring backpacks
Oh, right.
for those who complete the summer learning program.
There you
And
go.
so kids, so for example, early childhood, we'll have drawstring backpacks with Play-Doh and crayons. And also for older kids, we'll have notebooks, rulers, that sort of thing. But they're going out across the city. So each library location, you don't necessarily have to go to downtown. You can go to, say, Stetson and Dixwell or Wilson and the Hill, Mitchell and Westville, Fairhaven branch and Fairhaven. You can go and get those materials if you complete your 20 points. And then this year, we have a special initiative with the Peabody Museum of Natural History. They've given us family passes. So if you reach your 10 points of summer learning, of reading, attending a community event, you'll be able to get a free kind of family pass to be used within the summer. And so we actually adjusted our summer learning program to fit with the 60 days of summer because we realized, right to Labor Day, so right when kids are getting to school. And for us as a library, our goal is to make sure that New Haven thrives. Like that is our
Paul,
vision.
I have to mention something here that Luis did not mention. So we have this collaboration going in Newhallville. It started with Harrison Tucker, but the library van, the truck, the bookmobile is going to be coming out. And we decided in our management team that we're going to take that bookmobile and we're going to go to 4 different spaces in Newhallville, and we're doing something called Sundays on Mondays. But now it's around all of Newhallville with the van.
Excellent.
So we're opening this thing up so that we can really.
And this is going to be an event every Monday, right, where kids
Yes.
come with their parents. They
Yes.
read a book.
Yes.
They eat a sundae.
Yes.
All right, and they hang.
Yes. In Newhallville. I mean, who knew?
Why not?
Yes, absolutely. Why not?
Luis Chavez Brummel, I was going to ask you to get real so close to that mic. You're almost
Yeah.
touching it because your voice actually didn't come out as loud. That mic isn't as strong. So how long you been working there doing early childhood stuff at the holiday?
I've been there a little more than 2 years.
Did you grow up in New Haven?
I'm a New Haven native, actually.
What part of town?
And so I was more or less my first 6 years was on Carmel Street. Then I lived like in Westville. My parents, met in New Haven, and so they, worked with my dad worked for the Board of Ed for years. My mom,
Freddie Brummel?
Freddie Brummel, yes. So yes,
How about that?
Freddie Brummel.
Small city, huh?
So yeah, small city, and it's always running into people who know me or know my parents constantly, and it's great to be back. It's pretty surreal. It's like, I remember going to the
So you
library
went
as a kid.
you went away?
Yes, so I went to actually worked at University of Connecticut for a while. I went to UConn for college, and then worked there, and then I came back with a library degree, and I came back
All right.
here, and it's great to come back home. It's always that nice experience to have the
Yes.
community and just to see the benefits, and then to really kind of share those moments. It's a great surreal moment the other day where I'm helping to distribute the Peabody Museum passes to go to our neighborhood branches. It's like the Peabody was like my favorite place to go as a kid. So now it's like, wow, I'm getting.
What did you remember doing there?
Well, I just love just walking around and seeing all the fun of fossils. I was just love Jurassic Park, so that was me as a kid.
And you remember that squished up sea creature that's mammoth and they have in some little case?
Yeah, they have the different cases. The giant turtle that's there, but I really enjoy that, and I figure there's a way to kind of give back and to share. And this is a wonderful kind of full circle moment where you get to share with the community and the kids. Ideally, as a something they love, learn as a kid. All right, you love reading books, you get your 10 points, go to the Peabody with your family. So that makes it easier for the community as well to make it more accessible.
Luis, you said you went to libraries as a kid. You just mentioned going to the Peabody. What do you remember going to the library for and where?
So I remember going to the main library, especially for like summer reading lists, especially like in high school. I'd have to pick things up. I'd have my list. We, as our library staff, are always like ordering books for the kids to have for their summer reading lists. We work with Navy Public Schools. So it's just a great thing to do, even just like being a kid. And again, I love dinosaurs, like getting the books on dinosaurs. I love Tiger Story Time. But just having these experiences, going in, being in the moment. So it's.
And did you hang there, or did you get your book and read outside?
Well, sometimes I would read outside at home, or I would spend a little bit of time there. But it was great. I have to admit, like as a kid, I didn't realize how many great opportunities are, and that's why I'm so happy to be here, because they have all these great programs. For example, we mentioned early childhood. We have early childhood programs happening every week.
Tell me about a
the
couple of
city.
those.
Yeah. So, for instance, our early childhood programs down the street, Ives, Maine. We have 4 early childhood programs during the week, Tuesday through Thursday, including 2 on Tuesday, 1 Tuesday mornings at 11, and 1 Tuesdays afternoons at 4 p.m. And so it's a great way because we realize supporting that free early childhood.
And what happens at these
programs?
programs?
So what happens in these programs, we have staff members provide reading books, they sing songs, they get in really helping the community with the oral language skills, the conversational skills, and that's the first 30 minutes.
So do they sit in a circle?
So they usually kind of sit in a circle. We have a program space. We do some creative things as well. Oftentimes what we'll do is we will actually have the kids have what we call a play portion where like parents get to talk to each other, kids play with
I
little
remember
plastic
that was
toys we
always a
provide.
kind of nice
And
moment.
so
yeah.
kids get to practice sharing the social emotional skills, oral language, auditory, and it's just a great way to build community. So we're lucky to have regular patrons coming, every week, and this happens at all locations. Every single neighborhood has that early childhood program stay and play at least once a week.
All right. So now libraries have changed since you were a kid.
Yeah.
And one of the great success stories in New Haven is the Free Public Library. Not only have they generated grassroots support so their budget wasn't cut anymore, they actually grew. More people are using it than ever because they changed with the times. Like some of us will, for free, download movies because they get from free through the public library system. And they have books as always, but they have, I believe, ebooks as well as regular books. But they're also community centers. Stetson is the great example, but also no question about Mitchell and Cortland Wilson in the Hill, Mitchell and Westville, and Stetson and Dixwell and Fairhaven, and the main branch. You see the work Luis does. How have you watched that, Luis? What is the library, in your opinion, how is the library different from what you experienced as a kid? And how's it the same?
How's the same? Well, I think the same thing, especially with libraries, that love of learning and the curiosity, that's still the same. What's changing is now we're thinking, wait a minute, we can maximize the community expertise that we have of our staff and to think in non-traditional ways. So to use myself as an example, I've brought in like a guitar for an early childhood program once and like played, or we have staff who's a member of the Greater New Haven Community Chorus, and like she sings like a cappella with the families. We can really just incorporate these talents that they're just more than just books. And especially, Max, that we collaborate with our patrons. So we've had patrons reach out to us. One of our parents said, I have a background working with museums and providing art programs for kids. Can we have something, can I do something similar here? And so, yes, we collaborated, and we're actually having a Fun with Fine Art program this upcoming Saturday at 11 a.m. So these are just...
We're at the main branch?
At the main branch. So this is just fun opportunities where we're just thinking, it's more than books. It's the same thing in terms of learning and curiosity, but we're evolving and growing. It's really going back to the youth, becoming community problem solvers, right? Just preparing you for life. So it's lifelong learning, not just being in school. Learning.
And of course, people often get help for careers and using the internet and doing job applications. Yeah.
Job applications, and especially like helping the community thrive is like one of our kind of strategic initiatives. And we understand that we have to think like holistically. So for instance, with our children's room, kind of a main difference from like when I was a kid, for instance, we acknowledge that, okay, parents are working. They have to do several things simultaneously. They're applying for jobs, perhaps looking for housing. So we actually provide parent computers for our parents to use while the kids can use their computers in the children's room. So we have 2 parent computers set aside, and then different locations do things based upon their needs and their setup. But overall, we acknowledge this is a huge component, right? And so we acknowledge that the parents and the families are there. Our teen center, for instance, we realized, okay, it's a great place to have kids in New Haven coming and just being. One of the things when I was growing up as a kid, one of my best friends, we just loved, all the various different Japanese, anime and played video games and the like. And he lived on another side of town. He moved to Fairhaven. I was in West. We couldn't see each other as much. And so now I'm just so happy to see we have a wonderful teen center where teens get to come and do their homework and learn, but have this community of kids all across the city that also meet with their friends and have moments where they can play games.
It's kind of interesting because you use
technology
technology to tap into the way the world's changed, and yet you're doing that old-fashioned mission of also bringing people together in person more than ever.
Definitely. I mean, that's really what it comes down to, right? It's a knowing your neighbor and this understanding there's expertise everywhere. We always have something to learn from, and then kind of thinking broadly, the biggest issues, right? We can't solve them alone, right? And that's kind of the one city initiative. So.
All right, Louis, you are not punching a clock. I'm just going to observe that. Your heart is in this. And Andy McCrae, your heart is in it.
That's right.
And Kim Harris's heart is so big it's everywhere.
I know.
So Kim, we've been talking what's new with One City. We got the press conference today at City Hall. We got the website going. Randy, you got the library and every other institution tapped into good events. Anything else we should mention?
I think really June 28th is our Family Fun Expo at the New Haven Field House from 4 to 8.
First day of the 60 days.
Absolutely.
Well, you already got 497 events, and you're just going to keep going till you get to 720.
And
Whoa.
beyond. Absolutely. And then the other thing is we want to mention the club card, the New Haven club card.
CLUB.
Correct.
CARD.
Card, yes.
You say it really fast.
I know, because I'm so excited.
Right?
Yes. So we have asked each management team to seek out 5 businesses who would give a discount with their discounted club card. So we're on board with that. Right now, we're averaging about 2 per neighborhood.
You'll get more.
Yes.
And what this does is, if you live in New Haven, you'll take this card and you'll go to the website, and you'll find out where you can discover a small business somewhere else in town.
That's right.
Get a discount. You'll boost small business, and New Haven will be brought together.
Yes.
Kim, that's your MO.
That's right.
I love your MO.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, thank you for joining us, Kim Harris, Randy McCrae, Luis Chavez Brumel, talking about the great things happening in One City. Everybody go to onecityinitiative.org. If you're having a little trouble with the spelling, try Google it. It'll get you there.
I want to also we're on the city's website now.
Yes.
All right.
We launched that yesterday.
I'm really glad you're there, but I'm going to be honest.
I got you.
They need to be on your website.
Yes. So, Paul, let's check this out.
They have a new website.
Everything
and they
links
have
back to us.
They have
an
improved that
excellent
website.
section as you scroll down to and she's also going to give us a feature in the banner as well. When you scroll at the bottom, the city has a calendar that's live, as well as, these little 4 blocks of what's currently going on in New Haven. So it was the perfect place for them to kind of give us some front-facing, because people do go to the city's
Right.
websites, especially if you're traveling from out of town. The first place you go is to a city's website.
So you're connecting two-way.
Yeah,
Yes.
and it does link back to us. But it's nice to be visible
Definitely.
on the city's website as well. So we thank the city for that. Absolutely.
And I also want to thank New Haven Hospital for
Yes.
providing support for today's program.
Yes.
Thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
us.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank
I
you.
get so excited every week when Kim brings in these fantastic people who you don't see every day, but they're making our lives better every day.
Can I just add as a quick, we'll be remiss if I don't mention that the new Ive Squared at the New Haven Free Public Library is opening in 2 weeks. They have a new makerspace having a
Yes,
ribbon
I was
cutting
going to
that's
ask you about
happening.
that.
So that's a new, exciting dynamic. We'll have a cafe, ideally mid-July, but also just a great creative community space where we will have a creative in residence. We'll have an entrepreneur in residence. Just working with
That's
the
right. You
community
named, you picked 2 of those.
Yeah, so that's good. Yes, right. So that's definitely something that's coming the next couple of weeks. And,
That's
Wednesday the
fantastic.
27th.
And you're going to hear a lot about that, including in the New Haven Independent, because we already have it on our calendar to cover
Yes.
that
Excellent.
launch. We're going to take it out with the Afro-Semitic Experience performing I Wish I Knew How It Feel to Be Free from the group CD, A Plea for Peace. Now, we know what it's like to be free, but what do we got to do, Kim, to get there?
We have to book our ticket.
All right. book it and fly free with us
Yes.
every day and every night here on WNHH, New Haven's home for community radio.